Wingtip.
Good afternoon. It is June 6, 2018. You're listening to A Little Column A, A Little Column B, hosted by Will Luminos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What's going on, Will? I've got big news today. I entered a chili contest for the first time, and I came back number one. Champion of the chili cook-off today.
Did anyone else enter?
Yes, there were other contestants.
How many other
Plural.
contestants?
Plural, other contestants. There were 4 other contestants.
4 other contestants. So are you saying your chili is better than Kevin's? Are we going that far?
Well, it's better than floor chili. It's funny that you mentioned that. If anybody else isn't getting the reference, just Google Kevin from The Office chili. It's going to pop up. He's really proud of his chili that he's bringing in, and he really just dumps it all over the floor and tries to save the situation. Well, today I had to carry a crock pot filled with chili both into the building and then from my cubicle over to the space where the contest was going to be. The entire time thinking, oh no, I can't drop this like Kevin.
It's a possibility. Things happen. But, you got to cross the finish line. You can't just coast like that. There has to be, a closing. You have to learn how to close in the fourth quarter. And you have to have situational awareness. You got to see if there's any traffic around you or anything like that. Or, you maybe even know what the score is. Oh, I'm sorry. We just kind of transitioned into this J.R. Smith nonsense, which we have not had any chance to talk about. So now we're looking forward to Game 3 that's about to happen very shortly right now. But with that being said, what are your thoughts on this chaos of Game 1 closing the way it did with the J.R. Smith headache play?
There just seems to be so many, JR is easily the biggest agent of chaos in this, but there are a bunch of other things going on here. One, George Hill misses the free throw. He makes the free throw, that doesn't happen. JR gets the rebound, which that is unlikely to have happened. Say he grabs that, puts it right back up. Whoever was supposed to box him out, I'm not sure if it was Clay or who exactly, or if it was Durant was right there. I know they were both right next to each other, chasing him afterwards, thinking he's gonna do something crazy, turnaround jumper at some point, but he puts it right back in. Now all of a sudden that person is, how would you not box JR out? But then even after that, what is Ty Lue doing? I know you see JR with the ball, you think he's going to do the right thing, but you got a timeout. Call timeout. Even if you call timeout with half a second left. We've seen LeBron do crazier things. You're only down by 1 point. Tip in, with a little more time. Maybe you get it with JR gets it. Am I correct saying that there was 4+ seconds left?
Oh, at least. I think it was 4 point something. There was more than that. So my whole thing. Well, hey, go ahead. I'll let you finish. But this still.
And so Ty Lue has got to be going nuts. Now, did the coach can still call a timeout? Correct in the final.
I would hope so.
End of the game?
I would hope so. I would hope
the
coaching gives you responsibility over something coaching related, like a timeout. I would hope they would have that ability to call it, and if they don't, we got a problem.
Well, the only reason that I ask that is I believe last offseason, and I could be a little off on the details, that college made a change that a player on the court had to call timeout. I don't know if it was the entire game or under 2 minutes, but they definitely got rid of some timeouts and wanted to make it so, hey, the player has to realize this. It can't just be the coach. So a lot of times it was the coach yelling to the player. So I don't believe, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter what point in the game. So I don't know. I just feel like I haven't heard hey, Ty Lue, why didn't you call timeout? And there wasn't, hey man, watch the video. I was going absolutely nuts trying to call timeout. I realize that it was an unusual situation, but as soon as you see JR get to the 3-point line, you got to realize he's not shooting it, and you got to call timeout.
Yeah. All right. So I'm with you. Very first thing, Hill's got to make the free throw. Make the free throw. You're up 1. You're in a great position. You're in the position that JR thought you were in. Number 2, I think Kevin Durant should have got the rebound. J.R. Smith is not taller than you. J.R. Smith is not a better rebounder than you. J.R. Smith may have been the worst rebounder on the floor at the time and somehow manages to grab this thing easily. So easy to the point where I think he's shocked that he has the ball. But he had a lot of space. I think JR should have dribbled out like he did and then taken a fadeaway, which is a shot that sounds ridiculous, but is a shot that I think is in his repertoire that he has practiced and rehearsed and done time and time again. That would have been great. Getting a shot off should have been number one. Now, the coaching, LeBron James, all these other guys, everyone, I can tell you this from my living room. There was 3 guys in my living room yelling timeout that they probably could have heard us in Cleveland because it was unbelievable after they didn't. And I only assumed they didn't have any left. I was like, the only way Tyronn Lue does not call a timeout
that's what I assumed.
Is that they didn't have any left. And then when I found out they did have something left and that he wasn't on the court screaming for a timeout about halfway through all of that, just made me think like, all right, now he's got to take a little bit of the blame here too. But it didn't look like anybody really knew what was going on. Even LeBron, I don't think, had a great enough awareness to kind of take control of the situation. It wasn't until he was like, I don't think anyone ever thought JR would do a play like that, which is kind of why I'm giving some of the guys here a bit of a pass, but they're all responsible for it. But
well, I think it makes sense that LeBron was just kind of baffled. I know I saw a picture of right when JR got the rebound, LeBron at the top of the key with like his hands up, like kind of like, yo, I'm open, like get me the ball, but would definitely understand if with that much time getting it, not passing it. Just, it's got to be a perfect pass. LeBron's going to shoot it right away. It's very possible, but just difficult, especially he's worried about trying to get the ball. He's looking, parallel with the baseline. So he might not have seen LeBron, depending on exactly where LeBron was, the picture can kind of be misleading.
All right. Overall, we don't need to talk about this. This is old topic. We don't really need to get too much into it. But the bottom line is
the last part on that is that wasn't the end of the game. It was a tie game. He runs the clock out, goes to overtime, and then they just get smacked around. They were just shook. I know like that was their best opportunity, but you can't just lay an egg in overtime.
Yeah, they barely even scored. I think the bottom line is that JR definitely thought they were up 1. He grabbed that rebound. He high-stepped out to the sideline.
I don't know why he's being weird about it. Like, why not just own it and be like, hey, I messed up. But now he's trying to be like, I can't be really sure anything, at that point. And
I thought it was completely unfair. We talk more of this post-game stuff of everyone to grill Tyronn Lue and LeBron James as if they knew what the hell he was thinking. Asking questions.
No one knows what he's thinking.
Exactly. I was so frustrated, and I was so happy watching that post-game interview where LeBron just walked out with his suit shorts on. That's a topic of its own right there. Just left after this reporter who was grilling him, basically trying to get him to say, did anyone know that J.R. Smith thought they were up 1? Because that's the headline they want. They want confirmation that LeBron said J.R. Smith thought they were up 1. And it's so unrelated to anything in the series, and it's all this detrimental team nonsense of LeBron not picking up his teammates and things like this. Is so weak storylines of these guys in the media running with nonsense that are so unrelated to the reason of the outcome of the game. It was the better team won, regardless. It just would have been nice for Cleveland, and they might have had a chance in the series stealing Game 1, but it would have been stolen. They are not the better team. I'm sick of everyone thinking like, hey, they got Game 1. Maybe they could have won the series. It would have been a better chance for them to do that, but there's still a very little outcome where I saw Cleveland winning this series. Bad basketball. Bad basketball. Bad coaching, bad basketball, bad media.
I don't feel bad for J.R. Smith at all.
I don't know why you would.
I don't feel bad for him.
You know why I don't? You know why you shouldn't feel bad for him?
He's been a dirty player this playoff. He's been a dirty player all along.
We're not going to get into that.
Karma comes back to get you.
So unrelated from a bitter Celtics fan who's watching from at home and not from the finals. But
I'm fine. You take the loss. We got a young team, but you don't need to try to hurt people at every opportunity.
You know why you shouldn't be jealous of J.R. Smith? Because one of the greatest.
I'm not jealous of him. He's not. He's a punk.
You said you don't feel bad for him. You know why you shouldn't feel bad for him? This is why you
Why?
shouldn't feel bad for him, because one of the best feelings in the world is getting the rebound and running the clock out. And for about 5 seconds there, he had that feeling. That's a really good
Yeah,
feeling.
because then he turns to LeBron and is like legitimately confused on why LeBron's mad.
Yep, yep.
Like, yo,
So
I like just got the rebound to like ice the game. Like, what? Oh no.
he was able to fully create that feeling in those 5 seconds, all on his own, all manufactured inside his head. And
Not
that
real.
right there is some enjoyment that I think adds to this so much more, that it was all immediately taken away from him so quickly. This man, he really thought that was the game. Like I said, he was high stepping to the sideline,
Are
thinking.
you excited about tonight's game?
I have mixed feelings. I'm all right. I'm excited because I do think Cleveland has a chance to take a game. Is Iguodala going to play? I don't think he is. I think I saw some potential of him possibly playing. I don't think it makes too much of a difference either way. But tonight's the night. I think LeBron goes for 60. That's 6-0, not 50, not 40, 60. I think he goes for 60 tonight in a very close victory over the Warriors. But that's it. That's it. Like, there's nothing else to this series. There's nothing. We've already covered this the past 4 years. They're not the better team. They're not going to suddenly play any differently, and the Warriors are not going to suddenly forget how to play basketball. It's the series is over. It's just a matter of how many games it's going to take for it to end.
Yeah. So, are you more excited for the next 2, maybe 3 games, or more excited for the draft in 2 weeks?
I'm still going to pick the games. I'm going to pick the games because the games are something that I'm not going to have in 2 weeks from now that I'm going to really miss. So I'm going to be more excited for these games just because I know that's the last couple left. I don't think they'll be that great. I don't think it'll be that great of a series, but it's basketball versus no basketball. I will take basketball.
That's the only thing kind of keeping me going. Is like basketball versus no basketball. But
And
besides that,
it's
like
a
the
long
off
wait for
season's
football, man.
fun. Yeah, the off season is still fun. You got the draft, and then there'll be free agency shortly after that, and that's always fun. That's when the trades start happening again. But it just kind of all right. We're gonna see Steph Curry and Durant just squash. Well, they won't quite squash LeBron, but they're gonna squash the rest of the team.
All right. Well, now that we've kind of talked about LeBron, and I think Cleveland's going to lose the series quickly. What do you think? I mostly want to get to the offseason talk of where I think he's going to go and
Yeah,
what he should do.
if they're gonna get one, it's gonna be tonight, and I could easily see the Cavs coming in. All right, we're home. We got to do something. The Warriors. All right, well, we just played a really good game. They've been lackadaisical, and then this way you can win the next 2, and then you win at home, and you can party in your city rather than party in Cleveland.
Yeah, I could see it, but you know what? This team is this Warriors team feels so much better to me than the Cleveland team. That I think they
It's
want the
because they
sweep.
are. It's not a feeling. That's the truth.
I think they want the sweep. I really think they want the sweep. I think
They
they
should
want
go for it.
now. If they do get the sweep, and if the Cavaliers are unsuccessful again, losing to the Warriors, and after the J.R. Smith drama and the first round series almost losing to Indiana and almost losing Game 7 to the Celtics and dominating the Toronto Raptors in between all of that, and all of the mid-season trades that Cleveland made, it's all going to boil down to the end of the year here. Is LeBron James going to stay in Cleveland, or is he going to move on to another roster? There's not an ideal roster out there. It'll take some finagling, a couple maneuvers here and there. You're going to have to switch around, maybe make some sign-in trades or some other trades and get rid of some people on the current rosters to make room for him. But what are you thinking today, right now, before Game 3, regardless of the outcome of here? What is your future of LeBron James? What's going to happen?
I think he stays in Cleveland.
Okay, so you think he's going to stay in Cleveland. Do you want him to stay in Cleveland as a Celtics fan?
Well, did you see what Stephen A. said today?
I did not. He says a lot
He
of
said he's
things.
going to talk with Boston.
He's what?
He said he's going to talk with Boston in the offseason.
LeBron James?
Yeah.
You know why he should? And you know what? I'm going to say this on the podcast, and if he hasn't said it already, we should trade Kyrie Irving for LeBron James tonight.
Well, why would we trade? He's a free agent.
Do we
Are you
have
talking
room?
to sign and trade?
I'm talking sign and trade.
Yeah, we have no room. Oh, so we need a sign and trade.
We do a sign and
Yeah,
trade.
other stuff would have to happen to
I
make that work.
I would
But
sign and trade Kyrie Irving, and I would let LeBron and all the young guys hit their corner threes and play all the defense they want in the world, but let LeBron James be the point guard. I think it works, and as well as it's a huge team. LeBron's 6'8", Tatum's what 6'7", Jalen's 6'5", Rozier 6'4", 6'3". We're massive. We're a huge defensive team that can not only run and guard multiple positions, we can shoot.
I I don't think it's a real thing.
You don't think it's a real thing? I think it's the smartest thing. If LeBron wants to go to a team that he can play for the next 5 years, because he's probably only got 5 good years left, which is wild to even think of. And it's not.
I
It's
think that it's a. I'm not saying that I don't think that he won't talk to them, because I think it's just one of those situations where, like someone asks you, like, "Hey, would you, consider talking to this person about a really good job?" It's like, well, yeah, of course I'll consider talking to him. It's like, ooh, it's actually, it's an illegal job, and like the risk is super high, and you're probably gonna go to jail. It's like, oh well, now no, but I might at least talk to him. Like talking's not doing anything.
there's not a good situation out there. Philly's gonna have to make
And
all the
that's why I
moves.
think he's gonna stay in Cleveland.
Philly would have to make all the moves that Boston would of like that. I think they'd have to trade Darius Saric. The only thing with Philly, if he goes there, is
No, they got way more.
they have
Sixers
tradable
have way more
assets.
cap space.
They have a lot of tradable assets too, though. Because the way the team's structured
You
right
know, but
now,
they don't even need it. They don't even need to trade that much. They have much more cap space than Boston
I
does.
think they have to trade a lot more though, because they don't have nearly the amount of shooters as Boston does. The reason Philly hasn't been successful isn't because they don't have good players; it's because they don't have good shooters, and that doesn't work.
Well, I
A
think
LeBron
part of
James
it is
team with
one.
a LeBron James team with bad shooters doesn't work. That's what we're watching right now.
Well, not even like right now. The Cavs have guys that can shoot or will shoot. The Sixers have guys that refuse to shoot.
Yeah,
Like not they're not that great. No, they just don't. They don't take shots. It's like it's at a whole other level. I
I
think that LeBron's best path, both just because there's no good situations for him to go to. I don't think the backlash will be as bad as when he left Miami, but I think there will be backlash. I think that he sees what it's like for Kevin Durant in Golden State. Yes, he's winning titles, but the crowd, it just has a different cheer to it when Steph Curry hits one of those threes versus when Kevin Durant makes a bucket. It's just for Curry. It's, hey, this has been our guy longer. We're thrilled to have Kevin Durant here, but it's just like he's kind of still new. I
no.
think LeBron sees that. I think LeBron's best path is to go to the Cavs management and to say, "Hey, I know I've been signing these 1-and-1s. I'm gonna lock in for 2 or 3 years. Let's make sure like you can make some moves that don't have to be like immediate win now, and or actually they can be immediate win now because you don't have to be concerned that well, we want to make sure if LeBron leaves this summer that we are just not completely toast. Like he commits to that, they can try to improve that pick or try to move that Nets pick that they have. But I think if he keeps doing the 1-and-1 and they keep trying, it's almost like what kind of what the Knicks get caught in doing is you keep trying to fix everything for like the immediate time and you're just in quicksand. You're just in quicksand. You're not building anything. You're sinking deeper and deeper because you're trading long-term assets for these short-term assets, and there's no long-term stability.
All right. At the end of the day, LeBron is going to have to create a situation because there isn't a good one. So whether he has to create it in Cleveland and that ends up being the easier route, which I don't think it will be. I think he's completely killed the roster with some of the re-signings and the max signings that he forced to happen. And now he's going to regret all of that because they can't get rid of these guys because they don't have value, and he can't get anyone else to join because they're going to have no cap space. And he's going to have to go somewhere else because it's just going to be easier to get the guys that he wants to play with and basically do every mistake he just did with Cleveland to another organization. Much like I think the Lakers, he could do that too. We're going to sign Paul George. We're going to sign me. We're going to trade this guy. We're going to bring him in. We're going to get more veterans in. Whatever LeBron does, there's a formula there and a pattern there that he's done in the past where he just did in Miami a couple of years ago. That's what he's going to have to try and do. And I don't know where that's going to be, but it's going to be wherever that's the easiest to do. I think Miami at the time was the timing of it. I don't think the location had anything to do with it. I think it was just like, hey, Dwayne Wade goes there, Chris Bosh goes there, I go there, we sign everybody else. There we go. That's all we got to do. So I really, he's such a big name, man. I don't think it matters. I think he could go to Utah, and that would be a better choice than staying in Cleveland. That'll never happen, but that's a better choice than Cleveland. He has other options, and he just needs to make them his option, just like he's made every other city he's ever left for his option. When he came back to Cleveland, it was the dumb luck that they had 3 number 1 draft picks ever since he left, one of which they tanked away one. They completely missed on Anthony Bennett. And then the other one they traded for Kevin Love, who's only been healthy for, I think, one or two of the finals out of the past 4 years. They could have had a young guy. They could have had Wiggins. I don't know if it would have worked, but they could have had
Wiggins. But, yeah, you don't know that going into it.
And then the one pick that they did get, I don't want to say like Wiggins was a bust or anything, but he wasn't Kyrie Irving. But they forced him out of town, whether he wanted to or not. They didn't accommodate to him because LeBron James does what he wants. That's what LeBron wanted, and he said, "Oh, who cares? He doesn't want to be here. Get rid of here." And then their training staff completely screwed up that trade even more by telling Isaiah Thomas, "You don't need surgery. You rest a couple months. You'll be fine."
You're good. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Couple months later, he finally comes back. He's not himself. He's still in pain. They have to trade him because it's a win now because LeBron doesn't take wasted years. They trade him again. He gets to the Lakers over there like, hey, man, you need surgery. So I see Cleveland as an organization being gifted all of these things, whether it's 3 number 1 picks, LeBron James wanting and being from your state and coming and playing for this team, coming back, and they still can't figure it out. The balance of the management, poor decisions, and then LeBron force-handing decisions is also not so great. It's just such a bad mix of everything. I think if he goes anywhere else, he'll be smarter this time, and it'll work. But it's not going to ever work again in Cleveland. If he stays in Cleveland, I don't think he ever wins another finals. And I have no problem saying that right now. Do you really see that? Do you see him winning another? Because that's what this is all about. Do you see him winning another championship ever in Cleveland?
Well, and that's where he's got to kind of figure out is, do I want the easiest path back to the finals or the easiest path to a championship? Because I think that they're different. Because look what he just did with this team that we're talking about is like complete garbage. It's like, yeah, he still made it to the finals. Yeah, it took him 7 games in 2 series, but he still made it.
He did still make it because he's still that good. He is clearly the MVP. I was talking to a conversation with somebody else. This entire podcast is going to be on LeBron James right now because what else is going on in sports? We got a whole bunch of other topics here, most of which are just B topics, if you ask me. So I'm going to keep talking about LeBron for now. MVP, season MVP, LeBron's probably not going to win it. It's probably going to go to James Harden. I don't think he deserves to do that. But I was talking with a couple of my basketball buddies about how LeBron's been gypped of these regular season MVPs every year. And I can think of one guy who beat him, maybe 2. I'll give Kevin Durant the 1 year he won it. He earned it. He beat LeBron for that. And I thought the Derrick Rose
Curry
year.
For sure. Even close.
You're giving the Curry year one?
Ooh, I can't pull it up all now, but after the pod or for next pod, I can show you Curry's numbers. They're just unreal.
Either way, those are 3.
He just did things that no one has ever done, including LeBron.
All right, so those are 3 guys right there. Why doesn't LeBron have every other one? How did Curry get a second one?
Oh, hold on. This is the reason why. It's because now it's the playoffs, and now he's doing this crazy stuff all the time. But, I mean, this year he played all 82 games, which might not have been the best for the playoffs, but you're getting clouded by the playoff LeBron and not by the regular season. You know, he had a couple years ago, went down to Miami and kind of took some time off. He takes time off, which he should. But when you do that, there's other guys that come in, they step up, and
all right,
and there's just the fatigue.
Well, along that same argument, why the hell is Harden going to win it? Harden missed time this year. Harden's numbers aren't nearly as good. He didn't play nearly the amount of minutes or games or points or assists or defense. LeBron for
LeBron was
everything.
really good this year,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, he's really good. It's amazing that how efficient he's become. It's freakish of how efficient.
He was the best. He was the best player on the best team, and that's what a lot of people use for MVP.
Nah,
LeBron was on a 4 seed. It was the best player on a 4 seed in the East.
what, are you reading that from Brian Colangelo's Twitter feed? Where are you getting these stats? Who's telling you this? Are you
What do you mean?
pulling?
Who's telling me these stats? I just know these stats. I'm a basketball fan. I've been watching the NBA all year.
Well,
I was literally just thinking last Friday as I was out like doing stuff. Like, man, sure be nice if fantasy basketball is going on right now. That's how much I'm ingrained with it. I can't walk away.
awesome. Well, I touched on the Twitter topic. I was more or less asking you where you got your sources from, and if you said Twitter, I would say that seems silly to me. Just like this entire topic seems silly to me, of this whole Brian Colangelo of the 76ers right now, essentially being accused of having multiple Twitter accounts, some of which have supported some of the moves that, or any sort of, some of that have supported his involvement with the organization and some of the stuff that he made and implemented changes, some of which have criticized players and other people within the organization negatively through these fake accounts. And
Allegedly fake accounts.
allegedly fake accounts. I do see the problem with this, but I also see I don't think Twitter should be a strong enough source that it, like, people say bad things on Twitter all the time. Why does anybody care?
Because he's the general manager.
I get that, but if this wasn't the general manager, nobody would read into it. He has that much value in a source that because he goes on Twitter and says something negative that we have to fire
Oh
him.
yeah. Think about if it came out that Danny Ainge said, "Oh, why like don't worry about playing Isaiah Thomas even if he's a little bit hurt because he's not part of the long-term future."
All right, that there I see that, but the things
Because
he's
that's what he said. One
yeah.
of the accounts said we should we should not worry about resting him because he's not part of the Sixers' long-term future.
Yeah, yeah. All right, all right. I do see the problem here, but I'm trying to get the argument of which that Twitter shouldn't have this much value, I guess
But
it
it's not
does.
so much it's not so much the Twitter as the vehicle, it's the information. Whether this was on Snapchat or Twitter or Facebook or Tinder, on any social app, it's the information, not so much the vehicle of Twitter, is what I would say.
Yeah. I. It's a weird story. I don't know how somebody found out about this. I don't know how or
You should
why.
definitely read
Why?
the Ringer article about it. They're the ones that broke it, because they break it
Why?
down, and it
Why is he doing this?
what that's the weird part about it. And the latest has been, still not sure if they're all his, if there's a couple, if one of them is just kind of oh, this is just a coincidence. I mean, they really looked into it, but there's some. I think there was at least two that tweeted like very closely when they kind of lined up. He was giving some sort of press release where it's like, oh, well, he couldn't have been doing it right then. Like a 90% chance. And so the latest is it's kind of leaning towards that it's his wife, which is just like another layer of, huh?
Why?
Like
What is
they're
the
really
game?
because they were like defending because he was wearing these like really large collars, or he does, or something, and so that was one of the things that these guys, these alleged fake accounts, were like defending him on, like against other people. I would say this has got to be similar to the alleged Kevin Durant burner account.
The whole
Of like you said, why is this a big deal that this guy's saying these things? It's because it is a big deal, but you still want to say them, and you still want to defend yourself, and you still want to talk your talk. So you gotta, you and I aren't famous people. We could go out and say this stuff, and it doesn't matter. But he's got inside information, and tweeted about like guys being hurt. Like tweeted about the I don't remember if it was Nerlens Noel or if it was Jahlil Okafor, about like physicals that they took that they failed, which caused trades to fall through. like some real inside stuff. And when you're talking about failed physicals, now you're talking about medical documentation that should not be getting out to the
Yeah,
public.
that's
It's
clearly
it's a rabbit hole.
there's certainly an invasion of privacy within that because if you suddenly reveal this guy didn't pass a physical, of course nobody else is ever going to make an offer for him again. Until that is fixed, and that can obviously have a detrimental effect to any player, given that because you don't know if it's true or not. That's what just drives me crazy. Is I feel like Twitter is. I can see it as a news source. I can see it as a direct source from the right people. But the majority of it and the majority of the users, I would say, on it are purely just venting their opinions, trying to get a following behind it, trying to become some sort of internet cult leader of sourcefulness that they have zero backup to, that they have zero credential for anything here. And then when actual people with credentials go on there and try to do the same thing, they're vindicated for it because they can't do that. That just seems unfair to me that there's zero consequences for everyone else, but such consequences for these guys. I hate the outlet of it. I hate Twitter.
Because your name's not behind it. If I go on Twitter right now and I say Will Limanos of LCA LCB is a crappy host, well, boom, you know it. Anybody else can come and go like, oh, that's what Zach thinks. Oh, he's the other co-host. Oh man, like there's some drama here. But if I go and I have this account that no one knows where it's from, it's like all sorts of shady, and it's like you're not putting your name on it.
Yeah, but why does anybody care who that no-name account says?
Because it's not a no-name account. It's Brian Colangelo, who's the GM of the 76ers.
But now we know that. We didn't know that at the time.
No, but so that's why before this wasn't a big deal. It's when this story broke that's like, oh, wait, hold on, this isn't Eric Jr. This is Brian Colangelo.
Yeah, all right. I get it. He shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have done it. But I think I don't know. I seen a zero game.
He's gonna get fired. He's gonna get fired for this. This is a big deal.
Well, not only is he gonna get fired,
he leaked medical records.
He's gonna go on. He's gonna go unemployed.
It's not so much the defending his collar size. Like that's part of the goofiness. And the whole story, which is kind of cool, is like this kind of detective job that happened, and you got Reddit all over it trying to look up. Like I think they spammed his wife's like Gmail to like do like, hey, I forgot my password, and then they give you, and it got like the last 2 digits of her number and compared that to some other time she had posted her number and those two numbers lined up. So yes, a coincidence, but it's one of those, all of a sudden a bunch of coincidences line up, and it's just a wild story of, and there's no super bad consequences of this. I feel like there's a lot of stories where you're going along and then it's, ooh, that's really negative, and oh, that's what was happening, like, oh, there was dog fighting or something, like, ew, that's really bad. Where this, I mean, yeah, he shouldn't, the failed physical, but that's from like a few years ago. If that's the worst part of it, most of this is just goofy. Kind of what like we were saying is, if these were your thoughts, just say your thoughts. Don't hide behind it. Same with like the Kevin Durant. Use your own account. Go ahead, say these things. Stick to them. Don't be shouting off with like you're this other person. Just own it.
Yeah, it's a strange story. I don't see any gain to any of it. I don't even see really a whole lot of gain to covering it. I just, all right, let me ask you, do you think this is happening anywhere else? Because it's so weird that I really hope not, but I really think it is now. I really think almost every single Twitter account, somebody has additional accounts either in support or against, just to stir up the controversy around the bigger name, which just builds you more attention. It's a winning formula.
A couple of points is, one, like, it's a known thing that there's just a bunch of bots that they follow, they tweet. It's just, it's not real people. Two, there's very much the whole Russian influence, which I don't know enough about, but I think that there's some sort of contingency there that could be an issue. And then the third part is, if we've seen in the past year, an MVP of the league and a GM of the league having a burner account. There got to be other people that have it. I think there's a level of it of, okay, he did these things and tweeted out information that no one else outside the inner circle of the Sixers should have had. He tweeted that out, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Belichick has like a guy that has fake accounts to follow and just find out about recruits, and similar like HR other jobs, probably looks into your social media and looks into your Facebook and looks into your Twitter and checks that out. But I think it's different of having I'm gonna say like a passive kind of observing versus you're out there and you're doing stuff and you're interacting and you're defending and you're bashing players. Like, that's another level.
So not only do I have to worry about catfishing, but I have to worry about catfishing people who are going to not only talk shit about me, but may spy on me additionally.
Kinda.
Oh, that's just great. That's comforting. If you guys, if you guys didn't think if you didn't think the internet was a dangerous place until now, breaking news.
It's dangerous.
If you are listening on the internet, which I don't know how else you would, make sure you check out the website, lcalcb.wordpress.com. Make sure you check out Zach's Twitter, which is his actual Twitter. We'll give you his burner accounts in another episode, but his original account is...
I don't need burner accounts.
Maybe we do.
See?
Maybe this is why the podcast is struggling right now. Maybe we need burner accounts. Should we get some burner accounts?
Well, no, because that's just fake. I was thinking maybe this is why those other people have to have their burner accounts to get their voice heard. I got an opinion on something. It doesn't matter how stupid it is or how small the topic is. I just call you up and say, hey, Will, we got a broadcast. We got to let people know. We got to let people know about this.
They should care.
Boom.
They should care.
Boom. Now they know my thoughts.
Anyways, if you want Zach's only non-burner account, his name is...
Wicked Z-Man 24.
And it's not a burner account because we don't have any of those. We're 100% natural. What we are is what we are. There's nothing else to hide. There's nothing but behind the scenes and fake interns. Also, make sure you check out soldbywill.com for all your San Diego real estate needs. We do have a couple cool listings on there. I did some videos recently. Those videos have taken off. Apparently,
those videos are cool.
I've heard people in the past tell me visual videos are what sells, and that's what you want to get involved in. And I've never had a real comfort being in front of camera. I've had a dog here who loves to be heard on the podcast. Great.
The real star of the show.
That's the intern. She's unpaid. Anyways, the video thing, it's unreal how much more viral that will go. The spreading and the sharing and the views on it. I feel like I've posted a lot of good content both with the podcast and other good content with real estate. Not any of it has got the same amount of attention as these videos has. So I'm going to just throw it out there. There'll be some more little column A, little column B videos coming soon. I don't know what we're going to do, but if we got to simulcast this and that's how we get people to watch, I don't know why people want to see me, but they apparently do. And if that gets me more attention and more views, I will go with that route instead of the burner Twitter accounts. Which maybe other people should do as well. Hey, Brian Colangelo, there's an idea. If you don't like your collar, just wear a different collar. I don't know. That just seems easier to me.
Just own it and just be like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. You're a powerful guy.
Yeah, don't be afraid to be who you are. All right, set the records at what you want to be. Set the record straight. Speaking of setting the record. Another guy being himself, who's always been comfortable in his own skin and has just generally been a very cool person in pop culture. Snoop Dogg has a new Guinness World Record. And for all you cannabis lovers, it is non-related to that. It's actually alcohol-related. The largest gin and juice drink ever created was made this past couple weeks, past weekend?
It was over Memorial Day weekend.
Over Memorial Day weekend. And the size and quantity of this is, you got the number on that? How big was it? This thing was massive. It's the Guinness World Record.
132 gallons.
Of gin and juice.
So it was 180 bottles of gin, 154 bottles of apricot brandy, and 38 jugs of orange juice, as well as a huge. Well, actually, it's not really huge. It's a a normal size umbrella for a person, not for a drink.
So they put it in an umbrella. I'll make sure to share that on the website. Um, Now this was, I imagine, shared. Was this actually consumed, or was this just pure show? It was. You could probably get to a certain financial state where money isn't really a thing for him, and you can just blow away that kind of money. Was this consumed?
I mean, I'm sure they had to have consumed some of it, but man, there's gonna be a lot of spillage with that much.
Yeah. That was without ice as well. Was there ice in it? Do we know?
I mean,
I don't
it's
know.
a cocktail. There's gotta be ice, but it's hard to tell from the pictures if there's ice or not.
Well, you could make it, and then I guess like fruit bowl punch it. Put a ladle in there and you pour it over ice. That may be the
That's true.
easier route to go. But you know what? If we just talked about somebody not being to who he is, at least Snoop is Snoop. And he's Snoop every day, all the time, with zero shame and nothing to hide. And I think that's such a. I don't know how to
He
compliment
did
that.
this on stage at a he did this on stage at a music festival.
I just
You're
think
going to Firefly soon. Do you think there's any chance that any of the performers there try to beat this record?
no, but I love the idea. I want to open that door. I want to see that happen. Although I don't
What?
want it. I don't want it all to go to waste, though. All right, I don't want you to break the record just because you had the money to
So
do
it
it.
sits there.
I want it to be fun. Which my understanding of this whole event is it sounds like it was fun. It was at a good time environment. A lot of good people around. Everyone trying to have a
I don't
good
know
time.
how you distribute it though. That's my problem.
Well, you got to bring people backstage. I think is what you got to do. This can't be a sold or publicly distributed thing. But I think you could do it behind closed doors at a private event. Which I don't think you'd have a hard time, putting together or even, collecting a group of people. I mean, who wouldn't want to go hang out with Snoop? I think Snoop is one of
I
the
think
most popular people in the world. I don't know if he's top 10 or what, but I think he's one of the most recognizable people. Is that fair to say?
I would agree.
He's gone through multiple generations at this point, and has spread himself out. Have you seen his Martha Stewart show? Did you know he had a show with Martha Stewart for one?
I did know that. I didn't watch it, but I do know that he was on Trailer Park Boys more than one season.
See that's he's just Snoop, man, and he spreads himself out. I think he's made some good business moves. He's got the new game show on TBS right now, which I haven't seen, but a guy wanted to be a talk show host or a game show host, and there he is. He's just a game show host.
Did you realize that gin and juice was not just gin and juice?
I had no idea. I would have assumed it was gin
That
and.
was some of the biggest news for me.
I like gin and tonic, gin and ginger. I'm not a big gin and juice guy.
All right, so I stalled a little bit there because I was just finishing up some math. I did a bunch of math
for the listeners.
hold on. For the listeners,
Get out the calculator. Math is hard.
getting out the calculator.
You know what you should have told them is that you were doing it by hand, and that's why we're waiting. Not that you're you're having.
Oh,
a
I
hard
am
time.
doing it. I just took my shoes off so I could use I could use that for help.
Counting
So
counting
you
the
were
toes.
saying, oh, you got to bring this backstage and share it with some people. Well, just doing some rough math, 132 gallons, and say a 12-ounce cup. It's 1,408 drinks.
Damn, that's that's a lot. I mean, you'd have to take that thing to a club and hope that everybody ordered just that. Yeah, that's a lot.
Say everyone had 4 drinks, so it's like, oh man, okay, getting there to party. That's 352 people. Yeah, that's the club. That's the club, and everybody going there and just ordering that.
Oh man. Well,
Have you ever been to a party with jungle juice? Oh man, that is gonna be super gross after not too long, even with your ladle idea.
yeah, there's not a. I don't know. Maybe you do something else with it. I don't know what else you do. There has to be something else.
They
you can do.
easily, like you said, it's Snoop being Snoop. I'm just seeing the pictures. They don't really have what happened later, and I almost wonder if the reporter was there and maybe he partook, and maybe that's why the article is so short. Is he doesn't really remember what happened.
There's a forgotten ending that unfortunately went
That's
undocumented.
that's what I'm gonna go with.
Well, that sounds about right. Um, speaking of scheduling, can we talk the Yankee scheduling thing with this ESPN battle? That was this past weekend, right? Where the Yankees, they got rained out like a couple weeks ago or whatever, and they were gonna do a makeup game,
Mhm.
and they
Yep,
wanted to
they're
have them
gonna
do
have a
it.
makeup game coming up this Sunday.
So they were supposed to do a doubleheader, and one was supposed to be earlier, one was supposed to be later, and then the next day they were supposed to have another game at night, and that night game was
No, the other way.
the
So
other way.
the ESPN game was gonna be was Sunday afternoon. ESPN wanted to move it to Sunday night, but the Yankees, because of the rain out, have a doubleheader on Monday.
So the game was essentially moved, and ESPN made for my opinion, the huge mistake of announcing this, that they wanted to broadcast the game at a better hour, so they moved the game, which makes sense just about every other time for the ratings, except when you know the guys have a doubleheader the very next day, and that the earlier game would have been 10 times more convenient and at least given them some rest rather than the late
Because
game.
also it was I believe it was there was definitely travel involved. So it would have been playing the game and then traveling
And then playing a doubleheader.
and then playing a doubleheader. Yeah.
And I don't understand how
Well,
ESPN.
not only did they admit to like, oh, this is a more favorable time, the way that they phrased it was, well, we want the high profile game to we want the high profile game to be after our all-star show so we can get more viewers for the all-star show, which is also backwards because the game starts afterwards. It's like
No, you tune
the,
in
the way
just for the
shows work is like
game.
the opposite. You get the bump after the game because people just leave their TV on, not before the game.
I can't believe they announced this. I don't understand how they had the power to change the games like that. The commissioner of the league has to step in here. This just seems, as well as the player association, I think, has to step in here. This just seems really, really unhealthy for the athlete, right? This doesn't seem right. The NBA has arguments and tries to make changes every year and even in mid-season of how we can make the schedule better. How can we travel more conveniently? How can we make the league guys play better so they don't have to play back-to-backs or 3 games in 4 nights? They're trying to avoid this exact situation. And we'll be right back after this break.